Hello everyone again, Tim from Faith, Hope, Love Games here with my first impressions of Sonic Frontiers after playing over an hour of it. The gist of the story is that it starts out with Dr. Robotnik, aka Eggman, going to an old relic and putting one of his AI devices onto it. It looks like it doesn't go quite as planned though, as he seems to be searching for some secrets from the quote-unquote ancients. His AI device seems to malfunction and he gets sucked into an old relic-like portal. Sonic, Tails, and Amy, meanwhile, are flying in Tails' plane and they approach Starfall Islands after tracking the Chaos Emeralds to that location. As they get closer to the Starfall Islands, the plane throws a warning signal and Tails mentions some type of atmospheric charge causing the issue. The plane starts going down and then a portal appears and they all get sucked into it, with Sonic getting separated from his friends. You as Sonic then work your way through a very digitized training area slash tutorial that they later call cyberspace. After getting out of cyberspace, you wake up on the other side of an old relic portal, much like the one Eggman got sucked into earlier. A mysterious voice talks to you, referring to you as mortal, and says you're the quote-unquote key. The voice tells you that you need to find the Chaos Emeralds, destroy the quote-unquote Titans to rescue your friends, and to quote-unquote tear down the walls of the dimensions, whatever that means. Then you're left on the location of Kronos Island to pretty much figure it out as you go along. Also related to the story, there is a really cool prologue video called Divergence that happens before the events of Sonic Frontiers in the game. It explores how Knuckles ends up on the Starfall Islands and goes a little more into the enemies. I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can check it out. The first thing that really stuck out to me that was talked about a lot, obviously leading up to the release of the game, was the open world aspect of it. I heard a lot about it and was really intrigued by that concept. Sonic with his speed I thought would be a really interesting character in a large open world as the game was advertised. After playing it for over an hour and exploring Kronos Island, the island where you start that is, I am not sure entirely how big it is yet, but since I'm still at the beginning of the game obviously, but I love what I see so far. There's also more islands, I'm guessing, based off the intro cutscene referring to the area being called Starfall Islands, so I'll see how big the world really is as we explore more. The ability to traverse a large amount of land to an enemy or to get a collectible or rings with Sonic speed is so much fun. They have these cyberspace areas that you get letter grades on, and in order to get the best letter grades, it seems you might have to play it several times to get the flow down, and I found myself trying to balance wanting to go fast with wanting to get all the collectibles. The second thing I'm going to go over is the combat. To start off, the way you can rush enemies, lock onto them, run literal circles around them, and then use different attacks and combos is such an awesome feeling. It feels so cool to take down one of the bigger enemies. It makes you feel like you have Sonic's power. It makes me really excited for when I get to become Super Sonic, or as I like to call it, Super Saiyan Sonic, to see how he plays. The RPG elements of upgrading your skills, abilities, and levels are a really cool touch that I feel fits well into feeling like you are progressing through the game. I always loved RPGs and the feeling that you get as you progress through the story and game, increasing your abilities and in character attributes. This makes it feel like your character is growing with you, not just emotionally through the journey, but strength and ability wise as well. This is especially a great feature in open world games like this that don't have a traditional linear path that makes you feel the progress of the story. There are obviously ways games can work without it, and even some open world games follow a general linear path in terms of a major story events being blocked until certain requirements are met, but the progress of the character itself is always a nice touch, I feel. There looks to be a good amount to unlock in terms of abilities, and they have thorough practice tutorials and practice areas even on getting these moves down before using them in combat, which is nice. Each enemy has its own particular moveset that you need to learn in order to properly counterattack and get them when their weak spot is open. This part has been fun as you encounter new enemies, for example, who might only show their weak spot only when you're far away from them, or ones who are only vulnerable to be attacked after they attack. I know it's nothing new, but it adds to the usefulness of the abilities you unlock throughout the game to help defeat these enemies. Overall, so far, I feel like the abilities and moves that are unlockable are very appropriate around Sonic's speed, such as Stomp Attack, Side Loop, Sonic Boom, and Phantom Rush. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the soundtrack. The soundtrack and sound so far in this game are amazing. I love the soundtrack so far. Cronus Island feels atmospheric and at the same time mysterious. I love the sound effects such as when it rains, and the music throughout the island feel very Zelda-esque to me. The enemy sounds are really cool too. The voice acting I feel is on par from what I remember with the rest of the Sonic games I played, such as the Sonic Adventure games and other similar titles. I'm going to talk about the graphics next. As a disclaimer, I'm playing the Steam version on a gaming PC I built on the high graphic settings. I would say the graphics are good. I wouldn't say they're great, as there are much more graphically impressive titles out there today. There are areas not as detailed as some would like, and one scene in particular I noticed where the raindrops looked like fuzzy white noise. To be fair, I honestly wasn't sure if it was intentional or not, since a lot of the Frontiers aesthetics are intentional screen tearing and digital effects. This one scene, however, felt particularly memorable as not the greatest graphic quality though. The last part I'm going to go over is the fun and replayability of the overall game itself. With all the collectibles, mini objectives, and side quests, this game seems to have a lot of replayability for those completionists that love to 100% complete games. Since it's early on, it's hard to say how much value getting 100% of the collectibles of things would increase the gameplay, but I do see already though that these collectibles unlock different abilities and features of the game, so they do seem useful. So overall, I'm having a blast with this game. After over an hour of playing, I couldn't wait to dive back into Sonic's shoes to explore more of the world and the story. We just wanted to say thank you all so much for watching the video, and it's great to be back. We had a lot of big life changes and transitions over the last several months, such as moving a few times and having our second child that prevented us from uploading videos for you all, so we appreciate your patience. It's been a great privilege and a lot of fun to be back making videos for you all again though. Thanks again so much for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. God bless!